Today I'd like to talk about the way to remotely control a different computer by using your MindExpress. In order for this to work, you actually need a MindExpress on the sending computer. You need a macro server program on the receiving end, and you need, of course, internet access so the sending computer can send his commands to the receiving end. Now, the macro server program can be installed in two ways. First of all, on the installation DVD, you have a folder called Extra. So on the MindExpress installation DVD, there is a folder called Extra, and the Extra folder, you'll find a macro server setup executable. The other way is by going to www.mindexpress.be/macroserver. This will also download the same setup. So all you need to do is run this setup on the receiving computer and just follow the steps, finish the installation, and after the installation you can start up the macro server program. Now if you do, you'll see that there is a small hand that pops up next to your clock, and basically that's it. Then the macro server is running on the receiving end and you're almost ready to go. Now I'll just have a quick word about some of the options here. If you right click on the hand, you'll see a macro server properties item in the menu. If you click it, you'll see a window and you'll see that you can specify IP addresses. Now if you don't specify any IP address, all IP addresses are allowed. This means that any sending computer can send something to this receiving computer. If you want to limit access, for example, you only want one computer to access the macro server, then you can specify it here. But mostly I'd recommend to just leave this empty and just let macro server listen to any input it gets. That's the easiest way to configure it. The other option that is really interesting and that you'll need is right-clicking and clicking on Info. If you click on Info, you'll see a small window pops up with the computer IP address. So this is the IP address of the receiving computer. Now I have multiple IP addresses here, but mostly you'll only see one. And you need to write that IP address down because you'll need it to configure your MindExpress on the sending computer. Okay. So that's all you need to do on the receiving end. Now on the sending end, I'll take, for example, the Amigo file. And I'll show you. In Amigo there's actually already an option called remote computer. If you click it, you'll need to make one small change. Go to edit mode, click on the remote computer button, and then you'll see when the editor pops up that you need to enter an IP address. So this is the IP address of the receiving computer. That's the one you found in the info box in macro server. So in my case it was this one. And that's all you need to do to configure it. As soon as you press this button, you're letting MindExpress know that it needs to send all Windows control commands to the remote computer you specified with the IP address. So I then get a keyboard. I have other options as well. I have arrow keys. I can send mouse commands to the other computer, so I can control the mouse on the other PC. I can move windows around. I have all the options actually that you have in the Windows control. The way you need to configure this is simply using the Windows control options. So all you need to do is Windows control, send key, for example, the home button, and this will send the home button to the receiving computer. But all you need to do is install the macro server on the receiving end, and that's all there is to it. Okay, thank you.